ultimate BLT. But the B doesn't stand for bacon, it stands for belly. Instead of using bacon, we're going to use, well, bacon, but pork belly, which is bacon before it's bacon. I have a nice pork belly here. First of all, when you buy pork belly, try to get the center cut. You'll know it's the center cut because it's reasonably evenly distributed between fat and meat in layers. This one has a nice little extra meat going on the bottom, which is great. Here's the thing. I tried for a long time to make the crackling on pork belly perfect. I made pork bellies with crackling that was too hard. You couldn't bite it without breaking your teeth. Tasted great, but that's not what I wanted. And I searched around and I finally came upon this method which just produces light, flavorful, easy to crunch and enjoy pork belly. There's a couple of techniques we're going to use here to make the crackling and make sure that the meat stays nice and tender, flavorful. Need a very sharp knife. We're going to separate this into about 1/4 to 1/2 inch slices. We're going to cut down but not too far. If you look at this first fat layer, we don't really want to go through that fat layer. We just want to go down into it to open up the skin for the secret to perfect crackling, which I'm going to show you a little bit later on. So I'm going to go about 1/4 to 1/2 inch, just gently driving the knife over the top, gently, until it pierces the skin. Make sure we have it all the way, and there we are. Just gently each time, about the same width, all the way along. And there we have it. Next step, this is so easy to do. Turn it over to that beautiful meat side. I don't cut any of the fat away, because guess what fat is? Flavor. Here I have a 50-50 mix of kosher salt and dark brown sugar. We're going to go ahead and sprinkle this liberally over the meat side. Be careful not to get the sugar onto the skin side because it'll burn later on and it'll make it bitter. We don't want to do that. This is very similar to making bacon. Make sure that we pat this in to the meat. And this sugar and salt mixture is going to help to partially cure the meat. It's also going to help to retain some flavor when we cook it later on, but we're not quite there yet. I'm going to make sure that all of that sugar is out of the way so I don't contaminate the top. And now simply, we're going to spread some kosher salt over the top, rub it in a little bit, make sure that these little cuts are partially open so that the air can get in there. We're going to put it in whatever container you want, and this is done. Here's the thing. This needs to go into the fridge for 24 hours, so plan ahead. Make sure you've got lots of stuff to do. It has to sit in the fridge uncovered for 24 hours. You can do 12 if you must. We both know you don't really like to do what you're told. But in this case, if you want it to be perfect, wait the 24 hours, but in 12, if you give up, you can't stand it, you gotta make it, pull it out of the fridge. 24 hours. I'm sorry? You think I cheated? Is that what you just said? Well, you're right. I did put another piece of pork belly in the fridge yesterday, and it has been in the fridge for 24 hours, so I just pulled it out. You know, I figured that YouTube would not find it very interesting to be watching a video of a fridge for 24 hours. Personally, I probably would like that. I do like trains and planes, so I probably would like fridges too. But here we have it. Here is the pork belly as it looks after it's been drying out. Now this crackling, this skin on the top now is pretty firm. I can still see the little pieces of salt that should be on there. The next step is easy, but it takes time again. We're gonna have to play games on the computer. We're gonna have to walk the dogs and generally annoy our neighbors. because we're going to wait 3.5 hours for this to slow cook in the oven, but you will be happy with the results. We're going to transfer it into a container with a rack. This container is of course a little big for the task. This is a rack. It's the only one I've got because I like to put big things in the oven, and this is not that big, but it will do the job. So you just put it in the middle on a rack so that the air can circulate all the way around. Here's the key, listen carefully here. 250 degrees Fahrenheit, which is approximately something else centigrade. 250 is low and slow. That's what you want. Oh, hi. It's been 3.5 hours, and the pork should be perfect, and I'm sure it is. Let's pull it out of the oven and find out. Here is our piece of pork. What on earth happened here? How come this top is still spongy and is not crispy and crackling? Do not fret. We're not quite done. The next step, and this is amazing, is to actually put this into some oil and crisp it up in the pan. Yes, pan frying will get you the perfect crackling on the pork. So we're going to put this oil to a medium heat. Medium, just a little above medium on my stove. Your stove might be different.
Yesterday.
Oh God, it's getting hot.
How many days till the oil's ready?
What are we on now? Friday? Mid-Wednesday. Easy. You can see how the pork is nicely opened up along the cuts that we made. When it goes into the oil, it'll start to puff up immediately. We're ready to go. I'm just going to gently drop this in. Fat side down, of course. That's all we're crisping here. And let the magic begin. It starts to puff. Pockets form. It crisps. It's not going to be tough. It's going to be crunchy and flavorful and amazing. It's been about 4 minutes or so, and I think it's done. Let's take a look. Oh yeah, that is crispy, crunchy pork belly. I can hear this crackling. I don't know if you can hear it. It's cracking and sizzling. It's pleading to be cut and put on a sandwich. So here we are. We're gonna let this just rest, as with all proteins. When you've cooked them, let it rest for 5 or 10 minutes minimum so that all of the juices can repopulate and make it succulent. We've got something that we can do in the meantime. We're gonna make the dressing that's gonna go on the sandwich. We're gonna take mayonnaise, Dijon mustard, and we're gonna mix, I would say it's a third Dijon mustard to mayonnaise. It went all over me. That's okay, it's good stuff. So about a third of Dijon mustard and a splash, a mere splash of a mermaid's tail of some kind of vinegar. This is red wine vinegar. I like it as a little extra flavor. It needs this because the pork is so wonderfully sweet. That needs to be balanced out with just a little tart. As always, let's just taste it to make sure it's right. It's right. Did we do a good job or not? That's what I want to know. When we cut into this, is it going to be succulent throughout, crispy, crunchy on the top? Well, you be the judges and leave me a comment on what you think, because who cares what I think? Listen. Well, it's certainly crispy, crunchy on the top. We're just gonna follow our own guide. Oh, I can hear it cutting through the crackling. Just look at this perfectly cooked pork. Juicy on the inside, so crisp on the outside. This is exactly what we want. Let's take this over and build the sandwich and taste the sandwich. We are ready to construct the sandwich. We have the B, we have the belly. The B, we got the L, the lettuce, beautifully crunchy and fresh, and the T, the tomato, and our dressing. It's really easy to do. This bread, I just bought this bread from the market, and it is pretty severely cratered in the middle. No worries, that's just gonna be somewhere that the beautiful pork juices and our dressing can collect. But I'm gonna put most of the dressing on the bottom here because it has less of those crevices. You can see this is oozing into those holes. Okay, next, let's choose the best slices of our beautiful pork belly. Oh my goodness, this is incredible. Huge slices of pork belly. We're gonna go ahead now and put our lettuce on top. Plenty of lettuce. That's that fresh crunch that we want. When I was at the market earlier, I found a small heirloom tomato. The heirloom tomatoes are very juicy, very flavorful, very natural tomatoes. I'm gonna use a couple of slices, but any tomato is fine. Try, of course, to find tomatoes that actually have some flavor. Unfortunately, these days, tomatoes often don't have a lot of flavor, so just be careful. Choose something that's from the vine. It's worth it with this sandwich. It really is. Let's take a look here how we're doing. Here is the hat of the sandwich that goes on, and I don't know, but I just think this is an incredible BLT. Let's take a look. Let's try to figure out how on earth can I cut this. Okay, I'm gonna go right about there and see if this will go right between. Well, we're losing a little bit there. I expected that, but that's okay. We can tuck that piece back in. It really is all about this crackling. Let's see. If you like BLTs and you haven't tried it with pork belly, if you've never cooked pork belly, you saw how easy it is. You are always welcome in the kitchen, and we'll see you back here next time.